I know you didn't get to work much with guys like Rome and Solomon and Mario before they opted out of last season, but now that you have them back, has it taken them a little while to get caught back up to speed, shake off some rust, or have they caught up pretty quick?
No, I mean, that's a day-to-day thing it's going to take some time. You got to have a realistic expectation. Now, there's good things that they do, and you see that and everything that way. But, it's not a lifetime sport. You know what I mean? Like, you don't go out in your driveway and pass rush people or cover people, it takes a little time to get back in the full flow of things. But I think so far there's been good things that each of them has done in that regard there. But I mean, it's not only, you have that issue when a guy misses a season due to an injury, but that guy's in your facilities, in your meetings, he's in everything else. When in their situation, they weren't in our facility at all because that was the rules. So, I mean, like once someone did that, they weren't able to come in and be a part of the team day to day because it was only the people that were getting tested and the people that were all that. So, there's even a little extra element there that of climbing back into. But so far, been happy with them and to varying degrees, there's going to be a quicker recovery for each individual person, maybe a little bit different. We might be doing a few more things differently in the secondary that Rome has to get up to speed with maybe than what Solo has to do from what we're doing at defensive end.
Jay, when we spoke with CJ Colden last week, I think his quote was learning the defense, without having all the normal prep time was like learning Spanish, like a foreign language. I'm curious, from your perspective, do guys seem a lot more comfortable compared to, when it was kind of drinking out of a fire hose, I imagine, for the guys, before last season started?
Yeah, there's a lot more comfort. For everybody, we know a lot more of what we are too. When we started off in October last year, there's quite a few new players as well that had to play because you just guys that you had just talked about that weren't here were some of those guys played the year before. And then you had some new replacement players, that were replacing guys that were seniors the year before and everything that way. And so you're trying to kind of figure out everything without a spring practice, without a real fall camp, and then really without all your freshmen who were in quarantine for the whole month of October because we had COVID cases with them. So you didn't even really get the amount of reps that you needed. This is way different. Like, this is a way different stratosphere that we're on right now than what it was in October. It's not even close.
With everything that happened last year, it's almost like last season was a practice season because everybody got their eligibility and most of your players are returning.
Yeah, I don't ever look at it that way, though. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but those games counted. I get it in that regard, but they count.
But I mean, as far as growth for this year, I mean, it's like you got a free practice season to get everybody ready for when you hopefully will have a full season, and you didn't lose eligibility from anybody.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's a big benefit to that, to have people back and have people in a situation that, there is a comfort level. We kind of know what some of these guys can and can't do, and we kind of know who we are defensively. So we're not wasting time running some things that we're not going to run when we get to the season or something that way too. So we can be a lot more directed that way. So yeah, for all that is a big difference. Because we still got to play those 6 games and there's still carryover from that. And we have everybody back, but the reality is too, there's going to be a lot of people we play that have all their players back too. So it's kind of a unique year in college football that way. I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that kind of have a lot of experience, and we're going to be one of them.
Jay, you talked a little bit about how you had to have some guys step up because of opt-outs and injuries, especially the defensive end spot. You saw guys like Devon Harris, Jalen Pate. What are your thoughts on those guys, and how much confidence did they gain last year?
Well, I mean, there's a confidence that they've lined up and played in games, and Devon's best performance was his last one, against Boise. And so, I mean, you see there's a different level of player now than there was in October last year with those two. And that's progress. That's the progress that you get from actually competing in games, preparing for games, going through that process. And the progress that you get now that we're in a spring practice and double repping and doing all that. So there is improvement and there is progress with those guys. And so it does make a big difference. And so, yeah, those two guys have been, picked up where they kind of left off here in the spring. And that's been good to see. And I think that that's a position that should be a strength for us. When you've got Crawl back, you got Teagan back, you got Solo back, and you got Jalen, you got Devon, there's guys there, and so that should be a position of strength for us where we've got depth and we've got numbers and we've got quality.
So, Jay, you guys had 17 sacks last season, yet your sack leader was your middle linebacker in Chad. I'm curious, have you always liked to mix up your pressure packages in terms of who you have pressuring the quarterback, or was that more a reflective of the guys that you were missing up front last season? You had to get more creative, maybe?
Maybe a little bit of both. I mean, look, Chad Muma's a good blitzer. So it's kind of in our best interest to blitz Chad Muma some. Zayas Gandy's a really good blitzer. It's probably in our best interest to blitz Zayas Gandy some. But let alone, we do have, some guys on the defensive line that when you're at full go with them, that are going to be able to generate pressure themselves to where you don't always have to do, what you want. You want to put your best blitzers in position to make plays, but you really are at your best defensively when your blitz game can augment a good front. When I was at Minnesota, we had probably half our sacks in 2016 came from linebackers. Well, that was kind of who we were in the nature of what we had to do. So, it's just kind of I think where we're at now, it's kind of, you're looking at like those things augment the players that we have up front.
Speaking of Chad, over a 12-game season, he was on pace to have like 140 tackles, which is pretty obscene. Two things on him. One, did anything about his performance surprise you last season? And two, did you know that he played the piano? Because there's a video going around of him playing Great Balls of Fire.
I don't know. I did not know that he can play the piano. So that's kind of so him being able to do that, I will make sure that I find a way for him to be able to do that at some point, that I want to hear that. So maybe when we go to a hotel sometime in the fall, we'll find a piano there in the hotel. That'd be kind of cool. I was at Northern Illinois. We had a defensive tackle once that could pound out Clocks by Coldplay really well. And so he sat down in a hotel lobby and started doing it one time. I'm like, what the heck is this? So no, I'll have to have him do that. That'll be one thing. As far as his play goes, man, you just don't know that a guy is going to be as good as he is until you really, really get in it, and I thought every game last year he improved. I thought we had a lot of guys, kind of defensively improve every game a little bit last year. But he definitely, the level he played at, and what he means to us defensively is kind of immeasurable. And he played at a very high level. He runs well. He plays so hard, And so the speed that he runs at, and he runs very well, he plays at that speed all 60 minutes of the game and every play that there is. And so it's a good thing for sure.
Jay, you're the defensive coordinator. You're going up against a new offensive coordinator on the other side. What's it like to face this Cowboys offense now compared to what it was last fall?
Well, I think, it's the same kind of thing in one sense. There's when you look at it in terms of facing it in the spring as opposed to facing it last October, even like I'm sure that they're able to do more things right now, and they're able to have a much better level of installation and all that than what you were in a hurried up mess with COVID testing and quarantine and everything else. So, they're very multiple. There's a lot of things that they're doing right now. It's very good for us to see defensively. So that presents a great challenge. I think they're utilizing their people very well. And so it's fun. And I've worked, Tim's been great to work with. So that's always a good thing. We talk, hey, what do you need to see? Is there something that we need to do different? Is there something that you need to see more of that help you? Or is there something, we go back and forth on that. It's easy. He's easy to work with right now. And all that. And I'm glad he's here. There's a lot of things I like that they're doing on offense right now. There's a multiplicity to it, and there's a lot of things that they are doing. And that's going to be very stressful for defenses to prepare against and go against. And it should utilize our players real well.
I guess if there's one area on the defense that maybe doesn't have a ton of depth, it's at the cornerback spot. A guy who played nickel last year and really stepped in and I thought did a great job was Keonta Clinton. How special is it to have him and a Keon Blankenbaker in this defense now?
Yeah, I'm been really pleased with those two guys at nickel. There's going to be times that we're going to play both of them together as we get to the fall. There's a multipleness that will happen because of that. We'll be able to do some more things. We'll be able to focus on a couple of things. It'll help us against teams that want to spread it out and throw it and some things that way. And we went to Nevada last year. Keonta was our third corner. Like he wasn't even repping at nickel just because we kind of had to have another guy get ready to play corner. So, and that is still we're working, on 3 and 4 at corner. And the goal would be is for the third corner to not come out of the nickel group, but for one of those other guys to step up and be the 3 and the 4 at corner to where we don't have to, dip into different positions to make that work. But if we have to, we will.
Jay, what have you seen specifically from Rome this spring coming back? And do you have him working at free or strong safety?
So our strong safety is to the field right now. That's kind of in plays in the post a lot. So that's the position that he's playing for us right now. Look, like I said, I've coached defensive backs for a long time. I don't know how many years now. I have to add it all up. But it's been a long time. If a defensive back misses time, like that's not a position you just go, let's just plug and play. Like from footwork, from vision, from everything else. So the first, what are we on now? 7 practices. There's been progress, but it's been, it takes some time. Like you just don't plug it back in and go, wow, look at this. When a guy's taking time off. And think about it, like when you were in a situation like he was a year ago, like I said, we were only allowed to have people in this building who were being tested 3 times a week. So when those people weren't here, they weren't here. They weren't in the weight room. They weren't working with their strength coaches. What facilities were really even open, to go work out? So now you go like, you can't take 6 months off from running fast and then run fast. It takes you a little bit of time to get used to covering people and doing that. So I thought today there was progress from him and everything that way. But I told him before we started the spring, I'm not going to put an unreasonable expectation on you. Just got to get better every day and go and do that. And then let's see where we're at, but so that's kind of the long and short of it right now. Would be the best part I could say, is because it's just not, like I said, it's so different when you are a reactionary player, which a defensive back is. Okay. If I'm a receiver and I tell you where to go and where you're going, where the motion is, where you lined up and what you do, okay, that's one thing. But now you have to react to all these things, and you have to react to it with speed and with vision and footwork and everything else. And oh, by the way, you hadn't done speed, vision, and footwork since December of 2019. That takes a little bit of time. So there's reality in that. And that's what we have to continue to work through.
Jay, from your perspective, what was it like to fill out a depth chart late in the season that had a Gavin Meyer and Jordan Bertinoli lining up in the middle? And how impressed were you with those guys that just literally came out of left field for even people in the state that have covered this team?
I tell you, I was really pleased with how they played, because I thought really the only game last year that we got moved a little bit up front, or we got, kind of didn't handle some things the way that I thought we could have, was against New Mexico. And that was kind of their style anyways, a little bit of ground and pound type of thing in that regard. And I thought that was the only game that we kind of got moved around a little bit. I thought Gavin played very well for a true freshman coming right out. Jordan Bertinoli had a very, very good season, and really kind of from week 2 on, became someone who you began to really count on at a high level. And so, he's not practicing in the spring. He's recovering from an injury and everything, but he's doing well, and he'll be back in the fall. And like I said, I thought he played well last year and really did good things for us. And again, it's one of those things, if those guys played and you're getting moved all over the field and people are rushing for 250 yards a game on you, then that's one thing. And that wasn't the case in that situation. And so those two guys have been doing, Gavin's done good things this spring, and Jordan, played good ball for us last year.
All right, guys, we got to get going here. One more question for Coach. You guys got one?
So Jay, were you surprised at all, given how much attrition you guys had, to look up and you guys are still top 40, top 50 nationally in a lot of defensive categories? Were you surprised at all with how well this group performed?
No, not in the end. And initially, like the Nevada game's on me. And I think what happened there was, we're still trying to figure out who we were, what we were, and try to figure out kind of like, what are we good at? What are, and so like we were doing things in October that we never did during the season, because at first we still weren't, are we able to do this? Are we able to do that? Are we able to, well, in the process, then you find out that we kind of have 3 pretty good linebackers, that you find out that, Isaiah Gandy's pretty good. You find out that CJ Colden got better every game as he got his legs under him. And you find out that Bertinoli can play, all of a sudden you started figuring out some of these pieces, and you put yourself in that spot, and we play so hard and we really didn't make mistakes. And like, I got interviewed here recently, and like I said, my biggest thing that I look at, you have all the different scorings and all those things, which is big, that's what you got to be. But you don't always have control sometimes over where that ball's at, or if, pick 6 counts against you in scoring defense, but there was 14 teams in the country that gave up 5 yards a play or less, and we were one of them. And when you're looking at that, that's telling you that you're able to stop big plays, that you're not getting, carved up in the run game and things like that. And I think that was a big piece to it. So, in October, I had no idea as the season went and realized what these players were and how hard they worked, and they got better every week. In the end, you look up at it and go, yeah, okay, I could see that. Maybe while you're in the middle of it, you don't feel it, but at the end of it, when you look back on it, it's not a huge surprise. And our expectation is we should be much better this year. That's our expectation.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
All right. Who wants to go first?
There we go.
All right, guys. We got Chuck Hicks here. Michael, why don't you start us off?
Hey, Chuck, can you hear me?
Yeah.
First things first, how are you feeling? I know you're a little bit banged up toward the end of the year. Is everything good on that front? And then two, obviously we just spoke with Jay Savell, and the improvement after it was really after the CSU game where you guys were kind of lights out. For you, what was kind of the biggest difference from defensively where you guys started to where you ended up?
Well, first, my knee has been good since we came back. When I went home, I did a lot of physical therapy, and just so I can come back and running at full speed. So it's been good since then. And then in regards to that, after that CSU game, I think we just realized that, okay, it was that time as a whole, it was that time to really step it up, take it another level. And even for myself personally, when I was watching film, I just felt like, I could do more. I could do more when I'm on the field. So I feel like that was my biggest thing, just to keep just giving you all all 60 minutes. So that's what it was.
Chuck, I got to know, did you have any pressure on you last year coming in, replacing a guy like Cash Malawia?
It's hard to try to keep that expectation of what he put, even him and Logan, just the standard they put at the backer position. It was hard, but I knew what I needed to do to just step in that role by, watching extra film, being on the field extra weight room stuff. So I think all the extra stuff kind of relieved that pressure off me, because I knew when I stepped on the field I could do it. Did you ever hear from any of those guys during the season? Oh, yeah, I heard from them a lot. I heard from Cash more. They all reached out and just said, good work, basically, and keep working.
So, Chuck, when did you actually suffer that injury? And was that hard to deal with mentally, just with the season you were having in your first year as a starter?
Yeah, so it was during the New Mexico game, in the first 5 minutes of that. And, that was hard. That was really hard. I mean, I was on the sideline when they told me I wasn't going back in. Tears came down quick. But mentally, it was tough because I've tore this knee before, literally when I first got here and enrolled as a freshman. I tore this first time I was here, and it was just hard to tear it again. And I was just like, but I knew what I needed to do that same week, just trying to get better every day from that knee injury.
Chuck, I was watching some highlights of you yesterday. I was watching the Hawaii game, and I was wondering, did any of your teammates give you any guff for getting caught by a quarterback there when you put that ball off?
Yeah. All the time. It still goes on today. And they all say like, oh, you got caught by a quarterback. My excuse was I was a little tired, but it's okay. I'm not going to complain about it too much. It won't happen again, though.
That's a quick quarterback, though.
Yeah, no, he was fast, but it won't happen again. Don't worry about that.
Chuck, we just talked with Coach Lavelle about Chad Muma a little bit. What is it like being on the field with him? What sort of a presence does he have? And my other question is, did you know that he played piano? Because that is a thing now that's apparently getting out there.
Honestly, about the piano thing, I was so surprised. When I seen the video on Twitter, I was cracking up because I did not know he played it. He's over here singing and stuff. It was the funniest thing. I didn't know that, actually. But playing next to him, it's like you're playing with a guy that you can rely on. Like, if I needed a question on the field, I could ask him. He gonna help, So just having that presence of him knowing, he probably knows every position on the field. Just knowing that having that knowledge on the field helps a lot. And it makes my job easier because it's like, because I know if I mess up, well, he got my back, So I feel like that was the biggest thing. It's always it's a relief when you have someone like that next to you.
Hey, Chuck, last year, obviously a disappointment in that the start was delayed. Some guys decided to opt out. And then you guys probably didn't play quite to the level you wanted to. But to look at your team this year and realize not only are all these guys coming back that opted out, but you really had 3 guys leave off your team when everybody had a chance to come back. What kind of feeling is that for you guys to have that much familiarity?
It feels good because just knowing that we have literally the whole defense back, I guess, on our side is great because we know what we're doing. We know the plays even better now. It's kind of like we're just running things just kind of off reaction now. It's not like we're thinking about it. We're just playing. And I think that's the biggest thing this year. And I think that's going to help us a lot. And it's going to feel good when we get step on the field and we know exactly what to do.
Thank you.
Chuck, think back to what your mindset was before the season started last year compared to this year. Your confidence has to be just through the roof.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Because last year, it was so iffy, just going into the season. It'd be like season's on, then canceled, and then season's on. So now knowing that we're going and we're rolling like spring ball, this is a start right here. The start was actually in January when we started working out. So just knowing that we're going full go, it feels good.
So Chuck, what's the next step in your development? Is there anything in particular you've been working on, coming into spring ball?
I feel like my biggest thing is just being more around the ball, which that comes with running harder to the ball, pushing myself to levels that I haven't been at. And I know on the field, you can't just be 100, you got to be 110. And so I think this year, that's what I want. That's my goal. I want to be 110 every single play I step out there.
We got more questions for Chuck?
Yeah, Chuck, going up against this offense under Tim Polasek, is there any noticeable difference that you've seen going up against him every day?
Yeah, definitely. They move a lot more. It's a lot of moving pieces, which I guess keys into reacting to things. It feels like a lot faster too. They're getting on the ball quick, lining up fast, and snapping that ball. So that makes us have to line up faster. They're trying to throw us off every day. So it's definitely a difference for sure.
You get winded?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, when they're lining up fast and get going, it's like, okay, we got to step up and get rolling.
Are you guys good? All right, thanks, Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
Thanks,
Yep.
Chuck.
Thanks, Chuck.
All right, guys. We got Aiden Eberhard here. Cody, why don't you start us off?
Hey, Aiden, how are you, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Good. We just heard that Gunnar Gentry is going to miss, maybe a good part of the year. That leaves you as the elder statesman with a bunch of youngsters. I guess how much does it hurt to lose Gunnar? And also, I assume these guys well enough that some of them probably have the potential to step right in and do some big things.
Absolutely. Hearing the news with Gunnar was pretty tough. But I know that he's going to go through his rehab and do anything and everything to get on the field as fast as he can. So a lot of that's going to play into his rehab and, how everything comes from there. But on the flip side, it has been at least kind of nice to be able to get some younger kid kind of experience, reps, and all of that, because that's giving everyone some more opportunities to not only learn the plays, but learn how to, get open on different routes, what to do, how to see the defenses, and just picking up on all of that as quick as you can, just as in, going through practice. I went through it my first year being a scout. You go against the number one defense, but you start picking up on different things that you can do and how to do things. So they're getting all of that and they're getting it quick. So that's been really nice to see.
And I chatted with Isaiah Nayer a couple of days ago, and I asked him if he thought he was the best deep ball receiver in the country, because statistically, like 31 yards of catches, it would be the best if he had enough catches.
Yeah.
One, do you think that he is the best deep ball receiver in the country? And two, how much potential do you see in a guy like that? And what do you think his next steps are?
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's the best deep ball receiver we got or in the country. Like you said, the numbers don't lie. And if he had a couple more catches, here or there, then he would have been in whatever record or, that kind of thing like that. So I think that's pretty obvious. And I think as you watch practice, you can see him progressing every single day, getting better and better. And, we talk quite a bit through different things. And, even in the film room, when he talks, you can see him progressing and getting into the mindset of, a more experienced receiver, even though he just does have, that 1 year or whatever. So I think that was a great year for him in that regard. And I think getting that experience 100% is great. So like I said, experience is playing a huge role into that, especially with some of our receivers down right now. I think it's really good that all of our receivers have been getting more experience, getting more reps, especially with the new offense, trying to pick up on things quicker and quicker and learning everything right away. So I think that's been really beneficial, at least for those who, fortunately are still going.
Couple of questions. One, with the new offense, it sounds like the receivers are going to be a little more involved than in the past. Has it been that way in practice, and are you looking forward to it?
I'm really not at liberty to say a whole lot, but I'm really excited for this next year, so I can't wait.
Okay, you'll have obviously Sean's going
Yes,
to be
sir.
back from his thing, but also Levi. I think he got some knocks last year over trying to play through some shoulder problems. How much different does he look this spring than he did at the end of last season?
I think it's you kind of touched on it a little bit, but I think both quarterbacks are looking really good right now. Sean coming off of obviously his terrible season-ending injury, and then Levi with all of his shoulder problems and everything that he got kind of throughout the season and played through. So it's been really good to see all of them come back healthy and in the right physical state to be playing and to be able to see how they're progressing as well, because again, they're pretty young still. So if you look at regards of eligibility years and whatnot and all that kind of stuff, but they still have some years in them, and it's really nice to see them come back and be confident and be able to trust themselves and trust their arms and trust their bodies and trust their decision making. So like I said, with the new whole offense and everything, it's been really nice to see all of that, kind of come to fruition here.
Thank you.
Hey, Aiden, Chuck just mentioned pace from the offense, and he feels like you guys are going faster than you have before. What is maybe the biggest difference or differences between Coach Polisek's offense compared to Coach Vigen's?
Absolutely. And, there's no ripping on any coach or anything like that. Coach Vigen gave me a bunch of opportunities, and I'll forever be thankful for that. And he has a great family. So again, I'm not digging on any coach or anything like that at all. But I think especially with having a new coach too, Coach P has been able to bring a lot of energy into practice, and that's been picking up a little bit just with tempo, just because there is so much energy from him and then all of the other coaches as well. So that's been really nice to see. And, practices have been pretty fun out there. And especially with learning the new offense, the whole defense, they don't line up and know the plays every single down. So that's been really nice to be able to, kind of fool them a little bit here and there. But, I think both sides are doing great with level of competition. I think that's been really good to see. Both offense and defense are out there competing, making plays, and, we're all on the same team. And I think that that's something that we've really been able to wrap our head around as a whole team, is we've been able to practice and, keep each other up and keep each other safe and all that kind of stuff. So that's been really good. And like I said, Coach P has been bringing some energy, and, as a whole offense, things are staying the same and some things are changing, this and that. But it's been really fun to experience this new offense and be able to learn it and practice with it so far. So that's been really awesome.
Just about everybody has mentioned the energy when we ask about Coach Polisek, and particularly positive energy. Is that a noticeable difference and change from what it's been in previous years?
Yeah, I think, just the positive energy, that's kind of the only way to say it. Just the energy, whether it's in a meeting, it's in a practice, we're always moving, jogging around anywhere and everywhere. and we're always, it's passion is how I look at it. And everyone's yelling and we're all passionate about doing this. And we love this game and we want to win football games and we want to put points on the board. And we all have that same common goal. And, Coach P has been able to kind of instill that as well.
Aiden, you've been granted this extra year. How much pressure do you put on yourself to, this is it? It's absolutely it. You got to do it, do or die time right now. How much pressure do you put on yourself?
Quite a bit. I wouldn't say it's, too much pressure to where it's weighing me down or anything like that. But with a new offense too, this is, kind of a fresh start. I mean, we all aren't going to kid ourselves here. The last couple of years here haven't been great with the wide receiver core passing the ball. So I know we all put pressure on ourselves, quarterbacks, wide receivers, running backs. Everybody has been, coaches too. So we all know what we need to do, and we've just been trying to go through plays and execute in practice. So, going back to it's been really fun practicing. So it's been good.
Aiden, obviously, you've been here for a while. Is there something refreshing about having a new person leading the offense and having a new scheme? Like, do you guys get excited for that sort of stuff? Is there something sort of refreshing about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's kind of like in Madden when you find a new play that works. We've just got different some different concepts and some different things that we've been trying out and seeing what we can do and what personnel we have, who can do what, and kind of going from there. So it's been really cool to kind of be testing the limits of, who can do what we can do as an offense, and being able to go from there. And obviously we want to perfect the plays that we can work on or that we can work with. So just finding out those plays that we can figure out how to do and how to run to perfection is basically what it's going to come down to. So.
Isaiah is obviously not a secret anymore, but who are maybe some of these younger guys that maybe you've been impressed with this spring, or that you think can maybe really help you guys at receiver this fall?
Well, obviously I'm the oldest one here, so if I had a real answer for you, it would be all the younger kids. So all the other receivers here. But yeah, we've got DJ out there making some plays, Josh Cobbs, also, two-time. And we've got Chance, Tyrese, Will, Chris, you name it. We've got some players making some plays here. So that's been really refreshing to see. And, with the whole offense, it's been kind of interesting to see the creativity or, who can do what and in that regard. So my overall answer for that is it's been awesome to see all the receivers making plays.
How much confidence does it give you, Aiden, to have a game like you did against Colorado State last year? And then, you can do it. You've done it on the big stage. The quarterbacks can do it. Is that something you hope to see, on a weekly basis this year?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of the day, my thought is we want to win the Mountain West Championship. We need to put points on the board to do that. And to be able to put points on the board, we got to be able to both run and throw the ball efficiently. And so being able to have a game like CSU and see that we can do that, that's a lot of confidence. Obviously, didn't end up how we wanted it, but it did show us that we can do that and we know how to do that and we have that in us. So we have, we've talked about this plenty of times, but throughout the last couple of years, we've shown some flashes, at least in my opinion, I think we have. And it's going to be really nice to see us this year, my last year, I guess. But it's going to be really nice to see us this year and see what we can do as an offense and putting up some numbers. So I'm really excited for that.
All right, we got time for one more, guys.
So, Aiden, do you view this as, time to quit talking about it and actually go out there and do it this season?
Yeah, 100%. I think you hit the head on the nail. We can talk about this and talk about that. What's looking good in practice and what's not. But when it comes down to it, we got to execute in the moment. and we got to show up during the games next year, and being able to take the steps to do so is the first, that's obviously the steps. We got to have practices and then start stacking practices and plays and execution and everything like that. It all starts in practice. We can't just go out there and, in a game, just kind of toss it up and try to make, something work or anything like that. We got to build it throughout practice and, like I said, figure out what plays work, what we can do with our personnel. And at the end of the day, we want to put points on the board. So.
All right. Thanks, Aiden.
Thanks, Aiden.